Hello everyone and welcome in. Pull up a chair, let me get the kettle running. Let's get cozy because today I am sharing my thoughts on Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. This is A Story of Sorts, the podcast mostly about bookish stuff, and I am your host, Karina Pereira. Mariana Enriquez is perhaps best known for her first short story collection, The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, which I highly recommend, and I was super curious on how her writing would translate into a full novel. Well, I must say Enriquez was probably holding on to her words because she really went from writing short stories to a almost, I think, 700 pages long book. This one is a chonker for sure, and this comes from someone who wrote an essay named I Hate Big Books and I Cannot Lie. It is the first time in a long time that I have read a long-ass book and didn't think, okay, this could have half the pages and still be interesting. Now it's just boring. With most long books, they're usually like 200 pages too long. Not saying it's with every single one, but it is true, and that's why I wrote that essay. I love Enriquez's writing, which I already knew I did from her short story collection, and it translates really well in long form. She knows how to keep a reader entertained. She's also very good at description, and I think that helps, because if your book is long, there is a high chance there is a lot of description, but in her case, I felt that the description wasn't overdone. I really actually felt like it helped me understand the environment and the vibe she wanted to create really, really well. I do admit that there was one bit at the very start of part 4, if I am not mistaken, I think it's part 4, when the POV changes and I started to get a little bored. But a few pages in, things pick up again and then they just continue that way all the way to the end. The story is about a cult, and the medium in some ways gave me Mexican Gothic vibes, but without wanting to compare, but comparing quite better, since I found Mexican Gothic to be a bit tame, a bit mid. The idea of Our Share of Night leaves some room for questions, but in general, I think most questions were answered, especially if you are willing to go along with how things work in fantasy worlds, rather than being too stuck on what we know to be the reality, because this book, well, I don't know, I believe in ghosts, but it's not made to portray reality. It is meant to talk about like this I wouldn't say fantasy world, but more like medium, ghosts, curses, kind of other world, This was actually the book pick of October for Bored to Death book club, and it was the first book club ever where everyone actually liked the book, which is not a common occurrence in these meetings, and Bored to Death Book Club already exists now for like 10 years, and it was the first time that everybody agreed that they liked the book. So let that tell you something. I was really interested in the two main characters, and then later on in the children's group that gets introduced because of one of the characters, because the two main characters, in my point of view, is a father and his child. In the book club discussion, I think a lot of people expected a bigger ending, or a more exciting ending, but I kind of feel like after so much build up and so many things happening, the more quiet ending worked really well with the rest of the story as a sort of way to wrap it up, especially because there are very few quiet moments in the book. I think sometimes a quieter ending is the ending we need. So yeah, I think it's clear that Enriquez can write both short fiction and super big novels, and I am really looking forward to see more of what she has to offer, especially in novel format, which I find a lot easier to get into than short stories. And even though, as I said, I really love their short stories, I really, really, really loved this book. Did you read this book, or are you planning on reading it? Feel free to come talk to me on my socials, which are linked in the link in bio. You can access today's show's notes on my Substack, which you can find along with all of my social media links at linktree/Karina Pereira. If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider donating to my Ko-fi page, using my Libro.fm referral to purchase an audiobook, or simply leaving a review. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified when the next episode goes live. Talk to you then, and thank you for listening.